But yeah, I think we're going to see a recession on the horizon. We got inflation still at 8.1%, and it's not coming down. The inflation is like exorbitant. We got the
Yeah,
Fed.
those are the fake numbers. Inflation. Those are the fake
Oh, of
inflation.
course. Yeah, those
It's
are the fake numbers.
real inflation's like 13% right now, bare minimum. Bare minimum.
Probably even higher than that. But we're not going to get too much into that. But inflation is ridiculous right now. The Fed, they're sitting on their ass. They're not moving quick enough. They basically tame the inflation. And I don't think people really fully understand like how much interest rates need to come up to basically tame this inflation. Yeah, the Federal Reserve, even on their website, on their mandate, they say if there's 8% inflation, you need to put interest rates to 8.5%. And so we got a lot of room here to go with inflation, to go with interest rates to basically tame this inflation. And when we go that high with interest rates, the credit markets are going to dry up, and all of these companies like Peloton, all these Silicon Valley bubble companies, these bozos, they're going to go out of business because they have no earnings, and their growth is stalling, and they need to raise money and fundraise, and there's going to be no access to capital through the credit markets, so they're going to be unable to raise the money. They're going to go out. We're going to see stagflation since we're going to have the interest rates rise, and we're going to have like slow growth. And you know what kills me too is we got the Fed. They keep going, oh, we're going to come in for a soft landing. This is your pilot. We're coming in for a soft landing. They're going to die on that phrase. We're not coming in for a soft landing. The plane is coming down. It's going to crash into the fucking ocean, and we're all going to die. And they keep going, we're coming in for a soft landing. Consumer demand is waning, right? Consumers are spending less. We saw this with like Target earnings and Walmart earnings. The demand is like severely lower, and all these companies
How
they
about the
built up.
shortages? Both of those stores, they sell produce and they sell groceries. No one can fucking get anything. There's a huge problem with the baby formula now. No one can get their hands on it. They just signed an executive production order on that.
Yeah, I don't know what director. I guess they were like blaming somebody. The FDA director? He's supposed to like keep that in line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got blamed by the White House and politicians. He wasn't doing his job. But yeah, these like, and then all these companies, right? They have massive inventory because there was previously supply chain constraints. So they over ordered, and now consumer demand is lower. So now they're gonna have to basically cut prices on all their inventory to offload it, and they're gonna have to sell stuff at losses. They're gonna have like a massive reduction in the amount of money that they earn because they're gonna have to keep cutting costs on their inventory. Another fucking recession indicator is like oil's fucking ridiculous, right? Borrowing costs are high. People are defaulting on their credit cards. They're putting more and more money on their credit cards because they inflation on food and energy is just exorbitant. The yield curve is flattening. Real wages are fucking dwindling down, right? We only see 5% growth in wages, and there's an 8% inflation factor, so there's like 3% negative growth in wages.
More Americans are working part-time jobs than ever before as well. That's another important metric too.
Yes, that's important. Yes, people working, I think, like 2-3 jobs now, which is ridiculous. In order to meet to get their ends to meet. And you have you ever heard of like bellwether companies? You know what that is?
Bellwether companies. The term sounds very familiar. I know it's an economic term. Isn't that just like, I could be wrong, but isn't that just like kind of cyclical type of companies? Like,
yeah, basically. So like a bellwether company would be like, say, like UPS, right? Or a cardboard manufacturer. So basically, by looking at the bellwether company, you can determine the state of the general economy. So, like, say UPS has less shipments going out, you could basically say that there's less demand for online goods since there's less shipments going out. Or say there's less cardboard boxes being made, you could say, oh, that means there's less demand for goods and such. So, like, if you look at these bellwether companies, they just put out earnings like UPS and all these other companies, their earnings are significantly down, like Home Depot, Target, Walmart.
Right. I was gonna say bellwether companies in terms of being cyclical. Would that be a company like Caterpillar that specializes in the sale and rental of construction equipment and construction machinery?
Yeah, that Caterpillar would be a bellwether
construction's
company.
very cyclical. It kind of goes in waves,
Right. Yeah, Caterpillar would be a bellwether company. Caterpillar's actually been holding up pretty well since of like the food shortages that they're ordering more equipment to basically get access to the food since we see such high inflation in food. That's one of the like the few companies actually holding up in this time pretty well.
Yeah, so now here's a main thing that I want to ask you because you're bringing up a lot of this macroeconomic talk, right? You mentioned oil and how crazy gas has gotten. Now I'm looking at, I can't believe it. I just saw it at the pump the other day. Now, I mean, by the time you guys listen to this, it's probably going to be a lot more than this. But I saw at one station, you'll never believe it. Not even self-service; it was full service. It was 4.87 a gallon. Fucking unbelievable. And I'm at half a tank right now, so I got to pay this fucking bullshit. Tomorrow when I go out. This is fucking ridiculous.
Only 487 by you. My gas over here is 519.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, is that premium or regular or diesel?
It's Exxon. I don't know. There's a Lukoil, right? There's an Exxon, and
yeah.
basically there's a huge discrepancy. They're like right next to each other. It would be like 519 for the Exxon, and it's like 469 for the Lukoil.
Well, you know what they usually do, right? There was that whole thing with, I mean, Michael Francis says this, like
they dilute.
Said this in the past. Yeah, they fucking exactly. They collude, like the neighborhood guy who owns the station will talk to the other guy who owns the other station. All right, this week we're at 466. If you go over 466, you're in big trouble. But you go at 466, and then they collude to set the fucking pricing for the neighborhood. And then no one really bats an eye because then they go, oh, the pricing is around the same. That means that it's like, reasonably priced, or like, oh, it's less than one standard deviation of a difference. Like there's not really anything going on. But meanwhile, they're making under the table deals to collude for the pricing.
Yeah, but this is weird. It's like they're like right next to each other, and it'd be like 519 versus 466. I don't know who would go to the 519 place, even though it's Lukoil and it's Russian, whatever. But I gotta save money. I go to the 466 place.